Boom, boom, boom. Oh, and we are live. Hello, good evening, everybody. Is it evening yet? This is, I guess, a sign that it's been so long since the last time we did this is that it is now daylight hours when we're shooting these. I'm not complaining. Let's open this window a little bit more, shall we? That's a little better. Welcome. It's Thursday, April 3rd. My name's Chuck Cassidy. Thank you for tuning in. As always, let me know if you can't hear or see me clearly. You are my quality control team here. And we're going to just, it's a pretty unstructured one. I felt like, excuse me, I just chugged a Spindrift. I felt like I should get out here and talk because there's been some new movements in the global trade situation that are definitely going to affect the price of converting a bus at this day and age. And it's just been a while, so I thought I'd get out here. I'm still shooting some content. I've got a big series coming out in the next 3 weeks that I'm really excited about. It's going to answer a lot of questions about solar and systems for people, which is really my specialty. All of the videos you've seen of me building up till now are things that I can do and things that I'm reasonably good at, but the stuff where I really feel like I can give the most value to people has yet to come, and that's in the field of electrical and plumbing systems. Systems in general, the mechanics of the build infrastructure that you'll be living on. So here we go. Let's see, here, yeah, we're here, and feel free to throw a comment in here. Tell me where you're tuning in from. If you got any questions about schoolies or whatever, we're going to answer those. We've got a tool du jour, maybe a double down tool du jour. I don't know. See how I'm feeling. And we're going to cover, basically just as much as we can. I'm coming to you live, of course, from my converted school bus here in Northern California via Starlink. One of the things Elon Musk did get right, and it looks like everything's coming in loud and clear. So if you can't hear me, do tell me. Or if the top of my head's getting too glossy and you're just blinded, I could put some powder on it for you. I don't have any powder, but all right. Let's see where everyone's tuning in from, shall we? Gosh, it is sublime out here right now. I'll tell you that much. We got folks from Virginia, Idaho. Let's see if we got any international people joining us. Kansas, Oregon, Nashville, Portland, Deborah Jones. Don't forget to hit the like button. Boy, I couldn't agree with that more, We got Lon from Eugene. Nice. Upchuck roast. I mean, not my favorite dish. Not my favorite dish, to be honest. Jeff Breck. Thank you for the solar consult. Waiting for a couple items yet. That's right, cool, prepping the roof for repaint, nice. Yeah, and for those of you who want to order from me or who have, I sell directly from Victron, and there's just been, to be honest, I mean, a lot of activity that's caused some delays in the inventory streams for that, from the fires in LA to a new inventory system from Victron to the fact that this time of year everybody's ordering lots of stuff because summer is approaching and we all want to get our projects ready for the summer. And then you throw in the tariffs, people wanting to get their stuff maybe well ahead of time because they're concerned about things. Needless to say, there's been a 2 to 4 week lead time on a lot of the Victron gear. Well, a lot of the lead times actually are not necessarily all on Victron products. A lot of the wiring stuff, a lot of the Anchor wiring, some of the switches, things like that, those are on long lead times too, just, because of the amount of commerce happening right now. Everyone's trying to get their stuff in, Okay, nice. Now we're talking. We got some people in Arvada, my old home down there in Colorado. And we got Crown and Around joining us. What's up, Brad and Donna? Speaking of Elon, just sent off a rocket out of here. Nice. He's in Ventura and heard the boom. That's cool. Very cool. We got some folks from Canada. Now that's what I'm talking about. Now we're getting that internationally. And as an American, to a fellow citizen of the earth, Canadian, I'm so sorry for the tariffs and the actions of the president. They do not, I don't think anybody that I know of has a beef with Canada, but for some reason our president does. And, you know, that doesn't reflect my views, eh? Sorry about that. Anyway, here we go. What else do we got here? We got Arizona almost international. Well, you got your own time zone, right? Because you guys, if I recall, you're not on daylight time right now. Is that right? You're always on standard time? Interesting. Troy is asking if we've ever done a shower loop to extend the shower time. Boy, funny you should ask. I was just helping some folks I'm working with here in Reno. I'm not in Reno. They're in Reno. I'm near Reno. Reno's a great place. Lovely place. They want to do a recirculating shower, so I've been working on a system for them. There's a lot that goes into that, obviously. The filtration being one of them, reheating the water being another one, and then how to optimize that. And there's a lot of parameters to work with in there, but I'm happy with the design that we have right now, at least the working design. We'll see what actually gets built when the time comes a couple months from now. But here we go. Crowning around is crawling under his tranny right now. He's live streaming from under his bus as he works on his transmission. That's impressive. I hope it's just that air leak fix, you know, whatever. Brad's a really good friend. Well, Brad and Donna, they are two great friends of mine. They're married, and boy, I mean, they've probably spent as much time living at my house as anybody else has over the past couple years. Facts. Let's go. Indiana in the house. All right, Indiana. Okay, I hear you. Black Crow Creative. I'm wondering how I can change my VIN sticker if I change out my header on my 2007 safety liner. Well, the first thing I would do is search around. That VIN number should be in multiple places, for starters. And I would learn where those are, because if you can show that to the authorities when you're doing official things, that should placate them. Otherwise, I've done things like you can go on Amazon and you can make a new VIN sticker where you just tell them the VIN number and they make you a sticker with it and slap it somewhere. And as long as you're not committing fraud, there's nothing wrong with that, right? If it really is the VIN number of the vehicle, you're all good to go. So yeah, maybe that's helpful. Maybe it's not. I don't know. GK, no apologies needed, neighbor. Never confuse the politician choices with the will of the citizens. They are rarely the same. I agree. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And I definitely know and am friends with, in this community, you know, it attracts all types. I talk every day, literally every day that I'm working, which is Monday through Friday. I have conversations from all ends and all spreads of the political spectrum. And the interesting thing is that we're all united, at least in some small part, by the desire to live on a bus. And there's a lot of other things that go along with it. Independence, being self-sufficient. I mean, these are things that I think are appealing to a lot of people, and it's not a reflection of your political views, right? And so I am a big believer of starting in the middle and reaching out to people and finding ways to connect. And I'm not, you know, obviously I lean so far left, the Democratic Party cannot contain me, and I'm catching up on some conservatives either. I'm like, you know, about to lap them, chasing on their tails. But I'm mostly disappointed by everything that our country does with regard to how it handles things, because there's not enough freedom and there's too much government, and still we're not doing enough for our people, and we're babysitting corporations. I will get off the political soapbox right now. Anyway, I'm here with you, and yeah, I love the way that this lifestyle does bring together people from a diverse array, because I'm not here to make any enemies of anybody. You know, I'm here to honestly kind of figure out how all of us tick so that we can get along together, because everybody's going to have different views. And I certainly don't want to make enemies of people for having different views than me, unless like they hate me or something. That's a whole other discussion here. What else do we got here? Okay, Knitting Elephant would be super interested in a guide or something for a circulating shower. Yeah, me too. I would love to have one to follow. I might try to make one. That's a difficult approach because, you think there's a lot of options in a solar system for a bus. Boy, there are just as many friggin' options when it comes down to how to make a recirculating shower. I mean, from the filter types, if you're going to do a UV light, to how you're reheating, the recycled water, what you're doing with the wastewater. Yeah, there's a lot of variations in there. You're going to do 2 water heaters. You're going to do a heat exchanger. A heat exchanger. I don't know. There's a lot to it, but maybe I could do that. I'll try if I can. It's a little bit low on the list. Michael Shirley is seconding the VIN question. Your header got thrown away and you can't find another VIN number anywhere. Oh my gosh. Well, Michael, I mean, here's what you could try, and I've done this because I've been handed buses where that plate was missing. There was one time where my shop lost that plate, which was embarrassing. And what we did was we went to Amazon and we had a new plate or a new sticker made with the VIN number that we wanted, and we put it, on the driver's side, low down on the dashboard, so it could be seen through the windshield. And our particular inspector didn't even bat an eye at that. So maybe we got lucky on that one. You can always try that, right, if worst comes to worst. I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't have an encyclopedic knowledge of where the VIN numbers are located on every make and model of bus. But maybe people out there do know. So hit up, if you haven't joined my Discord, you can become a member of my Discord by joining my Patreon for as low as $3 a month. And you could ask the question there. You could also hit up the Facebook groups. I'm always dubious of the Facebook groups. For a question like that, though, it's pretty harmless. It's either there or it isn't. Not a bad place to look. Also, you can try calling the dealer of whoever made your bus. And I bet, if it was a Thomas or a Bluebird or an International or whatever, I bet they could tell you all the locations the VIN number is too. That's a good idea. I would maybe start with that one. Hopefully that helps. Clayton Farrell, you're watching this, making a new transmission wire harness. What did you go with? What kind of transmission are you hooking up? I'm about to do a transmission swap on this bus here, my own bus. There will be no wiring harness because I'm going from an AT 545 to an MT either 653 or MTB 653, which are all mechanical transmissions. The 653, it's a 5-speed, but the 5th gear is not an overdrive. It's actually a granny gear in first with like an 8-to-1 reduction. If you recall, a couple of years ago, now, I swapped the rear end gears in this for a very low number. I went from a 4.44 ratio rear end to a 3.73 rear end. Oh, I might sneeze. I apologize. The allergies have been happening. Don't worry, I got the local honey and stuff. I just haven't had some in a minute. And one of the drawbacks to that, of course, is it's going to hurt your acceleration, obviously, but it's also going to mean that in first gear, you have a lot less mechanical advantage if you need to roll over a stump or get out of a hole or whatever. And that's been a bummer for me on a couple of occasions lately, mostly because I've been making poor driving decisions and putting myself in mud and stuff that I shouldn't be doing. But moving up to the MT653, it gives you an 8-to-1 first gear, which is more than double, because I think the first gear ratio on the transmission I have right now is only maybe 3.5-to-1 or something. So that's awesome, and it makes up for the fact that on the top end, I've changed all the gears. The difference between the MT653 and the MTB653 is that the MTB has a built-in hydraulic retarder, which is essentially a form of braking that the transmission uses to slow you down. They're rare as hen's teeth, incredibly hard to find. I've only ever found one on the internet in the last 2 years, which is unfortunate. And the price to get one made for me is about $8,000, which is about $5,000 more than I want to spend on a transmission. So I think I'm going to do an exhaust brake on this bus, which you can do out of the box for about $1,800 if you buy the pre-made kit. Or if you're like me and you buy some surplus parts and yada yada, I'm hopefully going to be able to get that done for like $500. And then that means that I can get the MT653, which is a much more common transmission. And you know, check all my boxes, cross all my T's, and dot all my I's for a little bit less cash, get the engine braking. The cool thing about an exhaust brake, which is different than a Jake brake, an exhaust brake is essentially a valve, right, that closes over your tailpipe and plugs it up so that it provides lots of resistance to the exhaust trying to escape, which means your engine then resists slowing down in a deceleration, like say you're going down a hill, right? The cool thing there about an exhaust brake, it makes your bus sound like a jet engine, kind of cool. But on cold mornings, and if you're starting your bus up, or if you're going to do a setup where you want to be able to charge your batteries off of your bus engine via a DC to DC or something like that off your bus alternator, instead of a generator, which I never recommend, because diesel engines without a load, they do not run hot enough. At least most of the older-ish ones do not run hot enough to prevent bad things from happening to the engine from being run for extended periods of time without reaching operating temperature. You'll have unburned diesel washing your cylinders, removing the oil lubrication, a whole host of problems, inefficient combustion, all these things pop up. Well, if you have an exhaust brake that covers the tailpipe, it helps keep that heat in the engine. And actually some manufacturers like Dodge, who runs Cummins in their trucks, they recommend using the exhaust brake in cold weather idling to help the engine warm up faster. And if you're going to be idling for extended periods of time, it helps prevent some of the drawbacks of idling a diesel engine without a load. And that's pretty appealing to me. So I'm looking into that. I think I'll be running a Blue Ox exhaust brake on here. They got a billion options. And it's something to look into if you want a little extra braking performance out of your rig. Anyways, that was a long-winded answer to, was that even a question? Who knows? But it seems like transmissions they're the subject du jour, so that's all good. The political spectrum is a full loop. I totally agree with you, man. But it's heartening to me because I think like we're all going to come around. Like I really don't hate people unless. If they hate me, then I'm like really bummed out, if they're trying to make my life suck. I think we're all around here just trying to get along, well, mind our own business, take care of myself so I can take care of you or something like that, whatever. I just want the best for everyone. Got people tuning in from Florida, that's good. Tim Moxie is saying not worth it. And Tim is a friend of mine. I helped him on his build. And we've hung out a few times. Jeff, hey, thank you for the super chat, by the way. $10. You just bought me most of dinner tonight. I'm in California now. Things are a little more expensive. But that is certainly most of dinner. So I appreciate that, Jeff. I appreciate any super chat. And honestly, if you don't got the bucks, I get it. Save your bucks because life is getting more expensive. Give me a like. Just give me a subscribe. Whatever. That means a lot to me. Anyways, back to what Tim was saying. He was really into a recirculating shower, as I recall. And I said the juice is not worth the squeeze. Yeah. Having been on the road for 9 months now, him and his wife, they're mindful of water and have a low water use shower, and they love it. Yeah. Tim, I don't remember how many gallons of fresh water you have. Maybe you could drop that in the chat because people would be curious to know. But yeah, the truth is and I don't even have a particularly low flow shower head. It's still like 1.5 or 1.8 gallons per minute. I can't remember. It's a high Sierra shower head. It does not feel low flow at all. And, a typical shower that I take, here's a couple of things. You're in a small shower stall, usually. It's difficult to soap up and not turn the water off. If you're trying to soap up, my head and my chest and whatever, I can't get that soaped up if I leave the water running because it's almost impossible to escape the water flow, you know? You're in a small box with a shower head. So you're going to turn off the shower. You turn off the shower, you get soaped up, you rinse, you do the next part. I'm a pretty thorough showerer, I will say. I make sure to wash all parts of my body and my undercarriage completely. And I don't think I have the water running in total, if I'm actually just trying to get clean, for more than maybe 3 or 4 minutes, you know. And it's 1.8 gallons per minute for my shower head, call it 2. So the most I'm going to use in a shower, and this is being pretty generous, is 8 gallons, you know. And if you're doing a recirculating shower, keep in mind, you really can't recirculate water that has a lot of soap in it. Soap will clog and fuck up your filters to no end. So you still are going to expend water getting clean, okay? And then only when you're clean do you want to start the recirculation process. If for no other reason, aside from not wanting to get pink eye because you're getting poop in your eyes from recirculating water off your butthole, your shower filters will clog if you try to run soap through them. So no matter what, you're going to use at least, you know, even if you go twice as fast as I do, you're still going to use 2 or 3 gallons of water to take a shower. So baseline showering, a recirculating shower is not going to save you money. It's not going to save you money or water. If you are the kind of person, and I can be sometimes, who wants to stand there under the shower faucet, you know, for 10 or 15 minutes or whatever, and just have that hot water run over your body, that's a totally different subject. In that case, a recirculating shower does make sense, okay? But a recirculating shower is not going to save you water if the only time you use your shower is just to wash off and get clean, because it's not sustainable. You'll be changing your filters out constantly because they get clogged up with soap. You know what I'm saying? So that's something to pay mind to. Nice. Okay, we're getting lots of comments and stuff. This is great. Thank you for being active and engaged. That makes this a lot more fun for me. So, and also thank you for being here on your Thursday night. Thursday is my favorite day of the week. Grace is asking if there's a way to keep double doors of the front door as 2 doors, but also seal it off. Well, no. I mean, you would have to really get in there and re-engineer things and find some good sealing gaskets and stuff like that, which can be done. So there is definitely a way. If you're asking me how to do it, you know, I can't tell you how. That's a custom solution you're going to need to come up with. It's going to be more difficult, and even if you get it if you really get it super tight, it's still not going to be as good probably as a solid door, especially if that door is insulated. So there we go. Rachel Starr is saying with the recirculating shower, oh yeah, mostly heard the pain point is how often filters need changing. Correct, and that's clogging them with soap. I mean, if your body's clean and you're just running water over your body or whatever, the filters will last a long time, but not if you're filling it with soap. Clayton, oh, you're making a wiring harness for your 545. Your dog chased his squirrel up and got tangled in the wires and ripped the whole harness off the transmission. Well, dang, Clayton, I'm sorry. Props to your dog, though. What dedication. Luckily, even if you didn't have any wires connected to your transmission, it would still function perfectly, which is cool. You just might not know how fast you're going, what temperature it's at, or have your reverse light work. If there's something else in your harness, let me know, because I would be curious. Maybe a pressure. You might have a transmission pressure gauge, which is very rare, but a very cool gauge to have. All right. Texas Giant is, you're out of pocket. Yeah, who isn't? Getting a bus this year. You better hurry up, man. The question is, you good? Worried about you for a while. Keep preaching. Yeah, I'm doing fine. To be honest with you, I'm doing more than fine. I'm doing fantastic. The difficulty for me is like YouTube. I love it. I love sharing this with you. Don't get me wrong. It is not my main job. My main job is still making shit for people, which is kind of how I want it to be. And I'll never be the type of YouTuber, at least as far as I can tell from now, who makes a living selling my life to you. A lot of YouTubers, their source of income is being this like voyeur into their life, which is never a real take on their life anyways. They're selling like a fictionalized version of their life story or something. And I just don't have that to offer you. You'll never get, unless you're my friends, you'll never get to know what's happening in my real life. And I don't have the time to do that, which is why you haven't seen content from me. I'm trying to hit you up with a good series of videos about how to wire a bus, do the mechanical, do the systems and all this stuff. I want to be a source for information. And if that's entertaining to you, what a bonus. But it will be informative first and entertaining second. And will never probably be a total look into everything happening in my life, because my life is my business, my real business, and I love it too much. No offense to ever let all you assholes on the internet know what's really going on. You're not assholes, but you are strangers, most of y'all. Anyway, gosh, sorry. I'm in a very soapbox kind of mood today. So I hope that's okay with y'all. We got a $4.99 super chat. You know, I was at the grocery store, and that would be enough to buy me half of a cheese quesadilla from the deli case. Can you believe that? I got stuck on Donner Pass, and I went to the Taco Bell on top of the pass. I spent $26 at Taco Bell for just myself. New personal record, and I don't eat there often, if like really ever, but it was the only thing open. I got 2 cheese quesadillas and 2 chalupa supremes. It was $26. Anyways, $4.99. I'll take it though. Very grateful. Here, there's your like. Did you make the cover in your mini split or buy it? Also, thanks for your help with solar parts before tariffs. You're welcome, and I'm glad you got in. I mean, I thought things would get worse. I had no idea we'd get another 30% on top, or 34% on top of the 20% for this solar equipment stuff. So things are really going to elevate. The mini split cover back there, I didn't make. You can't buy it because it was made by my friend Brad, who also partnered up with Jamie, another person who helped me with my cabinetry, and we made that. That was it's made out of the same quarter sawn oak veneer that's on all of my cabinetry, wrapped around some plywood and some pre-made corners. So you can't really buy it, you'll have to make it. But it does work well. The only gripe I have with it is that you can't use the remote with it, which isn't a big deal because you can control that thing 100% with your phone. So I don't really mind it. But, and it does look really good. And it's held on by magnets. The original ones weren't strong enough, I had to modify it a bit. But now, you know, if I need to service it or open it up, just pop it off. No tools needed. It looks really good. I think most mini splits look really shitty. Tracy Smith is asking, what length screw is safe to screw into a bus ceiling without fear of poking through the roof? Well, most hat channels are at least 1.5 inches. So you got, I would say, at least 1.5 inches. So I wouldn't go with a screw longer than 1.25 inches. But if you're screwing into the roof, the sheet metal that you're screwing through, you know, is less than 1/16 of an inch thick. So I don't know why you would use a screw longer than that, you know, longer than like 1/2 inch, but maybe you're doing something I don't know about. I don't know. Tim, you got 125 gallons of fresh water. Cool, me too. And I gotta tell you, I got a 125-gallon freshwater tank, and I'm getting right now like close to 4 weeks just as a single dude. I shower almost every day. I would say 5 days a week I take a shower. And then dishes and all that stuff. And I'm getting damn near close to 4 weeks out of a tank, which is pretty great. Calvas Gaming. Hey, Chuck. Hey. What would be your budget option for birch plywood walls and budget option to closed cell spray foam insulation? You're talking about if I didn't do birch plywood, if I didn't do closed cell. I mean, people get hung up on the birch plywood. It's not that big a deal, to be honest with you. Birch plywood is very strong, it's very stable, and it takes paint and stain very well. And you can stain it to look like, to people who don't know wood very well, which is the majority of people out there in the world, You can stain birch to look close enough to most types of wood that you can fool the average person into thinking it's oak or walnut or something. So that's really, those are its main points there. You can use sandy ply from Home Depot, and if you're painting it, still get really great results, of course. And if you're staining it, probably still get good results depending on the stain you're going for. So on the walls, you know, it's not that big a deal. It really isn't. Closed cell spray foam, I mean, functionally, there is nothing out there that does what it does as far as a single insulator, you know, acting as a vapor barrier and giving you the highest R value per inch of thickness that's available. So, and spray foam is so controversial. And it's like, people act like it's a controversy. There's no controversy in my mind because everything about it is well known. No one's hiding anything. It's all just trade-offs and compromises. And unless you're new here, in which case you are, and welcome, everything's a fucking compromise. Like, hello, you know, this should be like very obvious to people. Of course nothing is perfect. You know, of course the thing that's best is most expensive. No shit. Like, what else is new? Where have you been? Has your head been under a rock this whole time? Spray foam is expensive as hell. It has a few drawbacks, but it outperforms everything else out there by a lot, okay? Is it worth it to you? Is it something that you're going to be okay with living with? That's up to you, and that's based on your wallet and your values. I ordered an air quality tester that I was hoping would be here today, but it isn't. Thanks a lot, Jeff Bezos. Although of all the billionaires, he's the lowest on my shit list. Because I want to dispel or be proven wrong that the VOCs released by spray foam are not something we should be worried about, especially if we strap our homes on the back of a polluting diesel engine that we operate on highways. That's something I really want to get into, so I'll give you info on that. But if you're trying to save money and insulate the bus, the first thing I would do is look at your budget holistically and make sure that saving a couple grand on the insulation for your bus is really an appropriate place to save it. Because a bus that isn't well insulated, you will spend more money on the systems that you use to heat and cool it. Those systems will have to be running more often on top of that, using more fuel or solar power, but heating a bus with solar isn't very cost effective. And you may have to do something like, if you do something really stupid like use Havelock, you'll still have to put a vapor barrier in front of that. So, you know, with the plywood, whatever. I think you should go with whatever. But with insulation, boy, that is not somewhere where I would look to cut corners. If you're investing enough in your build to take it seriously, you can spray foam insulate a 40-foot bus very well for under $4 grand. And I know that sounds like a lot of money, but if you're gonna do it with Havelock or something else, you'd still be spending close to $2 grand. So in the big ass picture of this whole fucking project, to know that one of the things you don't ever get a chance to redo, which is your insulation. There's only a handful of them, right? Do a roof raise, keep the original windows, and what are you insulating it with? There's like only 3 things you can't redo, aside from the bus you pick. To spend a couple grand and not fuck up one of them, to me is a no-brainer. No question. So my runner-up to that is, you know, if you're not going to do spray foam, you're going to have to do something else that's going to require either like foam board and spray foaming the gaps, or doing something like rock wool with a vapor barrier, or Havelock, you know, animal hair with a vapor barrier. I wouldn't even fuck with fiberglass. That's insane. You could maybe do some of those ceramic bat type insulations. You could do some thin slate, but you need multiple layers. So yeah, if your time's not valuable and if you're cool with like spending money, saving money in the wrong place, then yeah, there's definitely other options out there aside from spray foam. But I'm incredibly biased. And I just want to say, since I'm in the soapboxing mind, Bluebird, who started building a line called the Wander Lodge, which is where they took their school buses and said, hey, we can build basically an RV out of these. And they started building factory schoolies, okay? And it was clearly a fucking field day for their engineers, because those buses they have every feature, every freaking thing is thought out, and they're incredible machines, really incredible. And you know what they used starting in the 80s, in the early 80s? Spray foam insulation. Okay, so like they were aware that that was the top pick, and I'm one of the few people out there, I think, who's had the opportunity to get into the guts of a wander lodge and rip out wall panels and see what spray foam looks like in a bus that's 35 years old. And I gotta say, it did not look any worse, and in the bus that I tore open looked a lot better than a school bus of that age without spray foam. So for all the people saying it causes problems and whatever, only if you don't apply it correctly. And if you got a leaky bus, it's gonna be a problem. But if you got a leaky bus, that's gonna be a problem regardless of what insulation you choose. So I'm ending my diatribe. Skimp out on everything, but not insulation, right? Long story short. Deborah Jones, thank you for $20. That is definitely the rest of dinner and a dessert. Now you're talking. The question is, what will I have? The tiramisu? I don't know. Matt Fisher is hitting us up. God, time is flying. I can't believe it's already been 40 minutes. I'll answer a few more questions. I'll get into my tool du jour, and then we'll do some more questions. This is a blast. I hope you're all having a good time. I'm getting a little bit parched. I might have to open this beer that I brought. Matt Fisher is asking about putting 1/2-inch plywood on the walls. For my video, it looked like you were putting screws every 16 inches. Yeah, I mean, something like that, maybe every foot or so. My strapping, the framing underneath it is every 16 inches for the most part. Hockey Master Bro. Sick name. What's a good place to find a new diff for my bus for better highway speed and fuel economy? You got a Bluebird. Oh, nice. I can picture your bus right now. Yeah, 3126. Those are good. GMC in their absolute fucking lunacy agreed to a contract with Bluebird to provide them these bus chassis that your bus is sitting on, and they didn't force Bluebird into any type of exclusivity, while Bluebird forced them into exclusivity. Oh my God! And we wonder why this company went bankrupt and then got a public bailout, and then used that money to pay out their investors. So, but those bus chassis, man, those drive awesome. Those GMC chassis drive awesome. Is that one too? I wonder if that one's a shorter bus, like an 8-window or a 9-window, because that is one sexy bus. Anyways, the way to figure out what you got to go back there on your diff, or figure out who made the diff, what manufacturer it is. It's probably like, it could be a Dana, a Spicer, or a Rockwell. Those are the most common. It's probably, I bet it's a Rockwell or a Spicer. And then within that, you'll know what model that axle is, and then you just need to look for different, they're called third members, which are kind of the whole housing that sets in there that has the gear ratio. So that's where I would start. Recirculating wire doesn't sound clean. Didn't think about pink eye. I mean, I'm just saying, I've heard if you get poop in your eye, that's one thing. 10 to 15 minutes is what hotel stays are for. I agree. Troy Ray, thank you for the $15 super chat, by the way. Do I know why Tony closed AAA Bus? I don't know, although the last time I saw him, I mean, he's been doing it forever, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was just like, I'm done with this. He definitely has more going on in his life than just buses. I think I had it in my head that he owns some property maybe in South America or something. Maybe he's retiring. I don't know. Haven't heard anything about it. Clayton Farrell, it was the neutral safety switch that wouldn't allow it to start in the harness. Yeah, that will get you. That's interesting because on my bus, I'm pretty sure the neutral safety switch is built into the shift mechanism and not the transmission. But that's a bus by bus thing, of course, So that's a bummer. That is definitely a bummer. Phoenix Bus, you got a Crown Tandem. Nice. Hey, I have a question for you if you know it. What is the gross vehicle the gross vehicle weight rating of your bus? Because I was pontificating the other day, and I think that those might be the highest GVWR buses ever made. So if you're near the bus or if you know it, go take a look at that sticker and throw a comment and tell me what that weight rating might be, because I'm very curious. I think in my head, I mean, conceivably, I could conceive of it being over 50,000 pounds, but I think it's in the high 40s. So there we go. Backyard engineering, what is going on? Any suggestions on AC airflow in a 37-footer dog nose, decently insulated 12K mini split, 12K in the front and 9K in the master? Well, if you got 2 mini splits, you're good. I don't think I have a suggestion for you. If you really want one, I got a little fan up here. I just picked it up. It's an AC fan, but I noticed in the pictures for it on Amazon that the plug going into it is like a barrel connector, which is a DC connector. And I was like, ooh, I bet I can buy that, figure out what type of power it needs, and then just give it that for my DC system. Lo and behold, it runs on 24-volt DC, which is what my battery bank runs off of. So I'm going to make a custom adapter and be a DC powered fan. It's pretty stylish. Any tips for tackling roof raise transitions without access to large bending equipment? Well, if you're just doing the front, you know, depending on how you do it, if you're doing a slope transition, you don't need bending equipment. And if you're doing the sides, you can actually probably find a tank or a pipe. And if it's 18 gauge, especially if it's galvannealed, the annealing process makes it softer, so it's easier to bend. And you could bend that around a pipe or a tank. We used to bend, there was at least a couple of times where we bent it around the CO2 tank for our welder, and that just happened to be the right radius for the front there. Anyway, we'll keep going. Phoenix Bus, gotta have your privacy and balance. Yeah. I'm just trying to be a guy on the internet. I'm not trying to put my life out here. I'm gonna crack this open because I am getting parched from all this jabbering. Naturally brewed according to the German purity law. Amazing. And you know, who doesn't love a good clean Pilsner? It's only 4.8 alcohol, so I could drink at least 2 of these before I become incoherent. Better than turning to cannibalism, but not by much. Sure. Spiritual sloth, just throwing me $1.99 for no good reason. I love that. Thank you. There's a question below it. Ain't no such thing as a free super chat. What's your opinion on solar panel mounting with VHB tape? VHB tape is like an industrial double-sided tape. Excuse me. Foamy German Pilsner. I've only used VHB tape for mounting the flexible type of solar panels, which I do not recommend unless it's your only option. And I had great luck with it. I use VHB tape everywhere. Like everywhere. I've started using it inappropriately, and I'm waiting for it to come back and bite me in the ass. But I'm only doing it on my bus, so no one else will, suffer if I overjudge the capacity of VHB tape to keep shit stuck together. But yeah, I'm in love with that shit. So if you're doing the flexible panel method, I totally recommend it. I've not used it, nor do I think I would attempt it for mounting like a big rigid panel. That seems risky to me. Please use some kind of physical fastener, not just VHP. I would agree with that. The flexible panels are totally, they're like super thin. They're basically just a cardboard, not cardboard, but like a plastic thing with a solar panel on it. If that comes flying off the roof, of course it's not safe. It's really probably not going to kill somebody, right? But if a normal big ass solar panel flies off the roof, yeah, that could definitely kill someone, Foamular is the next best thing to spray foam. I would agree with that. Any tips for removing butyl rubber? Yeah. Gosh, I'm blanking. I feel like it's either mineral spirits or acetone that I use, but I think it's mineral spirits I use for removing butyl rubber. Heat helps too. If it's cold, well, the double-edged sword of heat is it makes it gooey. Okay, so. But when it's gooey, it's a little easier to peel back, but it's a little stickier and grosser. So I don't know. But I'm pretty sure I've had good luck with, is it mineral spirits? God, I can't remember. Every time I have to deal with it, there's like 3 solvents that I carry. It's mineral spirits, DA, denatured alcohol, and acetone. And between those three, oh, and sometimes paint thinner. Okay, it's 4. It's 4. Paint thinner as well. Multi-tool scraper blade. You can always mechanically remove it, yeah. Should I ditch the aux air conditioning? Evaporator is big and over my bed. You got, okay. In my 4-season 20-foot shuttle bus if I'm doing mini split. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I would, if it was me, if my bus was that small, I would ditch that and just do a mini split. No room for compromise on insulation in Nova Scotia. I believe it. Yeah, lose there. Nice. We got some intelligent people here in the live chat, you know, which is unbelievable. That restores my faith in humanity, you know. I feel like all the smart people in the internet are right here right now. This is just a taste, by the way, of what it's like in the Discord, which I wish I was at more often, but I have a Discord where people who care enough about building a bus the right way, you know, have joined. And if you become a supporter of mine on Patreon, I think the lowest membership is $3 a month. And between you and me, I'm pretty sure if you become a member for only 1 month, your Discord access lasts forever. So, hey, there you go. Get in there. The more voices, the better. But everyone in there is kind and supportive. And above all, well, not above all, because kindness is maybe the top, but very intelligent. And it's a lot like this chat room here. So, yeah, Tim has got the good advice there. I love it. Look, everyone's being polite. This is great. It's like the more spicy I am, the more polite people are in the chat. And the other night, well, it was like a month ago now, thought I was being really polite, and things got weird in the chat. Huh. Here we go. Thank you all for being here. God, okay, time is flying. I'm supposed to be done in a few. Real quick, I'm going to pause from the questions. Matt, I see your super chat. Don't worry. I want to cover a tool du jour, and it's a double tool, and I can't remember. I've done so many of these now. If you've already seen this, my apologies. I'm not here to waste your time. But damn if this thing isn't handy. So we're going to start off with what might be a repeat. Excuse me while I have like a sip here. Okay. If I've already covered this, someone tell me. But I don't think I have. This is a cordless shop vac. And this is the expensive like douchebag model, you know, the pack out, fuel cordless, whatever. And it totally sucks. And it is so amazing, you know, I can just, whoop. I use this thing all the freaking time. I use it every day. It's my ideal cleaning tool on the bus. I don't have a carpet, so I don't need like a rug with a beater. And the other nice thing is it's a wet dry vac. So I had a water issue where, man, and maybe I can put this out to you. I'll pose this question in a second, but I was having an issue with a water pump in the back of my bus and it leaked everywhere. Well, it's a shop vac, so I was able to suck up all of the leaked water. And that was nice. I appreciate that. For those of you who might have already seen me do a tool du jour, that was that. Or if I have already done that and I just don't remember. And maybe I've already done this and I don't remember. I don't know. It all blends together, guys. If the oh, and by the way, Milwaukee, they have a smaller version of that cordless shop vac, which I totally recommend it. Recommend it. Rocks. This is called gaff tape. I probably did this last time. I don't know. If I didn't, it was just in my head. I can't tell. The line between dream and reality. So it's tape, right? If you've ever worked in the live world, either live performance or doing film work, anything in the AV world, this is like a type of, you can get it in black or other colors. It's a type of tape that is actually pretty sticky. I've got some holding my microphone on right now. The nice thing about it is you can stick it to just about anything. It'll hold it pretty well. It's got a fabric backer, so it's pretty freaking robust, but it does a good job of not damaging what you stick it to or leaving behind a residue. And if I've already done both of those as a tool du jour, I'm sorry. But maybe the fact that I'm doing two makes up for that. This stuff is so handy. I highly recommend it if you're taking your bus on its maiden voyage or whatever, because it will fix a lot of problems for you that you don't have time to address properly and get you to your destination without damaging things. The other thing being the shop vac, I use that constantly. And if I was, if that's the second time you've seen all that, I'm sorry. I guess it just shows how little thought I'm putting into my lives. I just want to get out here and connect with y'all. Make sure I'm not dead. Let's see. Yeah, it depends on the climate. Of course. Rob, what are you saying? Bias is good, but buy once, cry once. Count the number of times I've done for people. Try to save money and spent more because of it. And that's what I'm saying. That is exactly what I'm saying. Buy once, cry once. You can change your mind on a lot of shit, but some things, it's so expensive to get it wrong that spending just a little bit more to make sure you got it right, fucking A. Partner, spend the money and get it right, okay? And there's a bunch of people out there who will be like, this guy's a fucking idiot. Spray foam, whatever. You could do a bunch of other bullshit, paint it white, put carpet on the ceiling, whatever the fuck you want to do. Okay, of course, But for me, if you want the foolproof answer for the best insulation that no one's gonna fuck up, hire a contractor to do closed cell spray foam in your bus. Done. And only do that if your bus isn't leaking. If you got a leaky bus, no matter what you do for insulation, it's gonna suck. And if you use spray foam, it's going to protect you for a while. Those leaks won't get into your living space, but they will be hard to chase, and that could trap the moisture against your walls. And instead of it ruining the wood and causing mold inside your bus, it'll probably just cause the steel and things like that to rust. Now, it will probably take a decade or more before that's a problem you have to worry about, but just in the effort of covering my ass in case people are watching thinking I'm full of shit and not considering all options, I should mention that too. Boy, this late day, look at this. It's like coming right through my upper window. Love it. Is the 3126 better than the 3116? I'm not a cat guy. I'm probably wrong on this, but if I recall correctly, the 3126 and the 3116 is an all-mechanical engine that uses mechanical unit injection, or MUI. So each fuel injector is basically a syringe, okay, with a plunger that's hit by, I believe, a camshaft, just like in the Detroit diesels, and that camshaft hits the plunger, and using a rack that changes the amount of throw that you're getting and the amount of fuel admitted. Now, I'm not totally up on that because there's like a few different MUI systems out there, but needless to say, it's a pretty reliable system because all of your fuel injection is independent across each cylinder. So if you lose an injector on one cylinder, there's no primary injection pump. There's just a fuel pump supplying relatively low pressure fuel to the whole fuel injection system. And if you lose one of those injectors, the other 5 are going to work fine. They won't even know what's going on. So that's a very, reliable engine. Adjusting the rack on those is a dying art that not a lot of people know how to do, and a lot of times it requires special tools. I'm not sure if the 3116 requires special tools. I know all the Detroit diesels do. But aside from that, I'm a Luddite who fucking hates electronic engines. And again, I know there are people out there like, I'm cool with electronics, I love that shit, I love computers, I love all that stuff. You're a different person than I am. I don't like that shit, I want a bus engine that I don't need a computer or software or an interface or anything like that to understand what's going on. I want to see with my eyes and make it run even if it doesn't want to, without having to code or do any of that bullshit. So I will tell you that the 3116, in my opinion, is better than the 3126. But that is only my opinion, and it is definitely biased. I grew up driving mechanical buses and feeling much more confident in my ability to make a mechanical bus go when I want it to than an electronic one, which isn't to say that electronic engines aren't reliable. My daily driver for the last freaking 10 years have all been electronic cars, with electronic fuel injection. But the big difference there is if my car doesn't start, it's not a big deal to push that or tow that son of a bitch around. If my bus doesn't start, or if it breaks down on me, it's a big pain in the ass. It's probably going to fuck shit up, ruin my day, and be 10 to 20 times more expensive than my Honda Element to fix. So I don't like computers. Never got around to it. I was too busy being a band nerd to be a tech nerd, I guess, Crowning around, Brad's guessing that crown's got to be 48,000 pounds. That's what I'm thinking, Brad. You got the two tandem axles. Those are they could be at least 20,000 pounds, plus the front axle, which 8,000 pounds. It's probably rated to more than that, but you add it all up, you got to subtract some fudge factor, blah, blah, blah. Someone there. Lots of good gosh, people are fucking smart as hell in the live chat. And that's cool. Thank you all for being here and tuning in. Oh, here we go. The gross vehicle weight rating was 68,000 pounds. Holy shit, that's insanity. Crown likely rated around 50 to 52. Okay. According to the... Oh, man. That is insanity. You could fit 3 of my buses on your bus. That's fucking incredible. Here we go. Good questions here. Jake Mashburn, mash the throttle, burn up your engine. No, you're asking about the pyrometer and exhaust temps. You got the same engine as me. Okay, cool. So my engine was the lowest horsepower version you could get to start with, the 185, I think. And all I've done so far is slide the fuel plate forward to its limit. And I'm seeing, if I mash the throttle, I can get up to 1,350, maybe 1,400 degrees on the exhaust gas temps. I don't hang out there though. Once I see it hit 1,300, I tone it back. And then on the boost side of things, I'm seeing as high as 25 to 26 PSI right now. Curious what you're seeing. I would love to lower my exhaust gas temperatures, but I'm afraid that the split radiator intercooler setup of this engine is my limiting factor. Or going to a bigger turbo, right? So I'm gonna have to change something. I'm gonna do, where are we at? 56 minutes. I'll go for a few more minutes and then I'll get out of here. It's been so great. Oh, I didn't even get to the tariffs though. Hold on. Pause for a second. Let's talk tariffs real quick. And I'm not gonna be political about this. Just, the tariffs have gone up. We were at a 20% tariff that we saw the administration impose on us pretty much a month ago now. That immediately resulted in a 20% increase in lithium batteries. At least from the suppliers that I use, it was pretty much overnight. We saw a $200 $220-ish increase in lithium server rack batteries. So they went from $11.99 to $13.99 a piece. That's $1,399. I was just on the Signature Solar website, and they were now up to, well, depending on the model, some were already up to $14.99. I asked them what they thought would happen to the prices of batteries, and on their end, they said that they were going to hold prices steady because they weren't sure if these tariffs were going to hold, because yesterday the administration announced another 30% tariff on all products from China, which for us people is mostly going to be, I mean, a big part will be solar panels and lithium batteries. And so, your solar panels are now going to be, well, compared to what they were in January, they're going to be 54% more expensive if you're buying anything from China, which again is most of them. And the same is true for lithium batteries. The unfortunate thing is the batteries are the most expensive part of your off-grid system. So the average bus that I do a design consultation for is going to have, between 2 and 4 of these server rack batteries that used to be $1,200 a piece. Now they're $1,400 a piece. And if these tariffs last long enough that the next shipment of batteries that at least Signature Solar, who is a distributor of them, receives and they have to pay extra for, if they last long enough for that to happen, those costs are going to be directly passed on to you. So that's another 30%. So, we're talking about going from $1,200 to, roughly $1,700 per battery. And if you're going to have, between 2 and 4 of those, now we're looking at freaking, God, another $2,000. Is that right? Yeah, $2,000 not even counting solar panels. So right now we are in this funny grace period. Order, at the very least, get your freaking batteries now, okay? And I don't sell the batteries. I have no, I'm an affiliate for Signature Solar, but like buy them wherever you can get them the cheapest, all right? Get your batteries now, because if these tariffs last, those prices are going up. If the tariffs don't last, they're going to stay the same. And just in general, the tariffs are going to be a great excuse, just like the pandemic was, for people to raise prices regardless, okay? So, dang it. I hate that it's like everything's getting more expensive, but you just, if you got the funds, buy that shit now. If you don't know what you need, you can always book a consultation with me. I'm here to help you figure that out and get you set up with the solar kit, and I love doing that. But yeah, at the very least, get your freaking batteries. Okay, that was the whole point of the soapbox this evening. Was just like, we're in this funny grace period. The tariffs have been announced, and they aren't all affecting the cost of goods yet. So if you know you want to do solar, buy your shit now. Get it happening. Get your stuff here before things get worse. I really, like I said a month ago, I said I doubted things would get cheaper when the first 20% tariff was announced. And here we are, another 34% on top of that. Like, I don't think things are going to get cheaper. So buy your shit if you can. Okay. All right, I'm going to go for another couple minutes, and then I got to get off of here and go have the rest of my night and all that stuff. I got to take a pee is really what I got to do. Phoenix Bus, you got the Cummins 855 Big Can 5-speed manual. Nice. Any ideas on transmission for upgrades? No, but what I would do, a 10-speed overdrive would be the way to go, or a 13-speed. You can also, if you have a lot of gears, then changing out your rear end ratio doesn't really have any negatives, and that's also a cheap way to do it. So congratulations on the cool bus. Fun to have everybody here, by the way, all 100 of you. Hey, for any vac, you should get a little bucket dust separator. Yeah, those are cool. Those are cool. But the thing is, for me, like, I don't have room for that. Like, I love the portability of this. But if it was a stationary shop vac or something, because as far as I know, those buckets are like a separate deal. I don't really want that. But I do freaking love a good shop vac, I tell you what. Yeah, and it's got attachments and a soft brush attachment and all that. We love gaff tape, all that good. Oh, nice. Charlie Colvin, glad I got to my tariff stuff there. We're talking Boco Loco. I knew Brad would chime in. Acetone or lacquer thinner and a blade. Yep, for getting the butyl off. Charlie Colvin, hiring a contractor for insulation is not worth the cost for a 20-footer. That is true. You're totally right about that. Yeah. But after you get about bigger than a 20-footer or so, definitely worth it to hire it out, because they'll do it for cheaper than just the materials. So, all right. Where do you buy your 24-volt Quattro inverter? Signature Solar doesn't sell 24-volt. I am a Victron dealer. So if you want to buy anything Victron, just hit me up. And there's all my contact info in the video information and description there if you want to get a hold of me. But I got to log off, because if you can't tell, I'm doing the I gotta pee dance. I didn't even finish my beer, but it was so great to have you all tune in tonight. I wish you the best of luck on your bus conversions. If you have the money, buy your Chinese stuff now. If you don't, my thoughts go out to you, and good luck on all of your projects. God bless you, and I will see you the next time we're live. Thank you for spending your Thursday night with me.